December 20th, 1979. Your concepts have clouded the self. Regarding the self, I give you important, useful hints. Its realization is your job. Parents will help their son to get married. Thereafter, what to do is his job and not parents'. Listening to this knowledge is to die while living. It is the death of your identity, which doesn't leave the ignorant till end. The timid leave a sage out of fear of extinction. One is so much attached to the body that one finds it impossible to accept even a separation from the body. It almost amounts to the death of the body. For a true seeker, the body is only a cause of the question, what am I? He has no doubt about his existence apart from the body. Can I know or observe my death? Death happens when the sense of being vanishes permanently. Without the sense of being, how will you know death? You go to sleep every day. If there is no waking in or after sleep, it is death. The difference between sleep and death is only fear about the latter. For jnani, the clearing of the vital breath is blissful, similar to your happiness in the toilet every morning. If I do not get sleep, I take a pill. Similarly, knowingness, waking, and sleep are the result of a big pill called food essence. What is birth if not the appearance of these three states? Their disappearance is death. Who is fit to receive spiritual knowledge? One who is distressed by physical, mental, and spiritual problems. If I don't get liberated in this life, will I die? Knowingness, waking, and sleep are the qualities of the food essence. Are you the food you eat? No. Your body is your food, not you. Its death is not your death. Thereafter your knowingness will be no more. 100 years ago your knowingness was absent. Were you dead? No. If there is no death, whether I am realized or not, why take all the trouble? Only verbal knowledge, without realization, cannot remove fear. You cannot fill your stomach by reading a breakfast menu card. The knowledge is defined as that which liberates. It brings peace and tranquility. The load which you carry on your head will then be put on your table. When one is no more, who is there to receive the offerings made to the departed? None. Those who make the offerings get satisfaction, and the priest his fee, dakshina. Now I am free of most of my concepts. Your concepts, based on hearsay, have clouded the self. This knowledge should be able to free you even of your I am, which is also a concept. Your Bible is full of knowledge and the priest preaches it, but none preaches it this way. In the West, sages did not enjoy freedom to tell the truth. When I talk here, I have to suffer its effects. That is an established truth. Can you make it more clear? Prior to his birth, was Jesus aware of appearing in form? It cannot be. He cannot be an exception to the rule. Is there any witness to your ultimate findings? If there is any witness, be sure it is all a lie. As long as there is no witness, it is all in perfect order and the truth. In the absolute state, there are no others. I am the only witness of myself. Is Guru's help a must for losing body identity? Yes, thereafter the disciple gets closer to the Guru. Why are you closing your eyes? Don't meditate here. Listen with eyes open. When you are alone, go to the state when your parents did not recognize you and you did not recognize them, and meditate deeply. Do you understand that your appearance in a form was spontaneous? Yes, it was without my knowledge and cooperation. Although you, as your body, had no knowledge, you, the unmanifest self, is responsible for your bodily manifestation. December 21st, 1979. How to be free from the I am disease. There is manifestation due to the quintessence of food. The body is born with the appearance of the three states of waking, sleep, and knowingness. Is there anything beyond knowing I am not this body? Thereafter you come to know that you are also not waking, sleep, and knowingness. Also you come to know that you have no birth, and you are that which has no beginning and no end. Your parents were responsible for the body in which the news you are appeared. Each of the parents contributed for the appearance of the news. From milk you get butter and ghee. Both these are dormant in milk. Similarly, consciousness is dormant in food. Hence, food sustains consciousness in your body. Your attention, Goddess Lakshmi, serves your consciousness, Lord Vishnu. In the picture of Lord Shiva, river Ganges is shown flowing from his head. Then how could he sleep? Shiva is a great guru, and every utterance of his is profound knowledge. The Ganges is not a flow of water, but of knowledge. Why is Lord Brahma shown with 4 mouths? To indicate the 4 types of speech: Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikari. All are speechless here. Outwardly you appear to be silent, but inside the flow of thoughts goes on. Does anyone experience a thought-free state? In this world we experience so many things. Does any experience remain permanently with us? No. When your vital breath and mind leave and the body drops, what will you be? You love to exist. What will happen to it? Without body-mind, what will you look like? Will there be any experience of day and night? What would be your concern about all your close relatives and about your hard-earned money and possessions? Who are the parents of all that you see now? Consciousness. Without consciousness, everything is useless. Knowing this, will you continue your struggle for more and more? Should we take care to continue consciousness? But it is the quality of a healthy food body. Soon consciousness will lose its dwelling place. While it lasts, try to find out what you were without consciousness and how did it make its sudden appearance. That is the best use of consciousness. If I cannot survive without water, it becomes my Atma, self, if consciousness is not. I am not. Then consciousness becomes myself, and it should be more important to me than God. All this applies to the ignorant as well as to a jnani. The ignorant identifies with the body, but a jnani knows that he is neither the body nor the consciousness. He makes use of the consciousness as long as it lasts. He is prior to consciousness and is always in that state. What should a seeker find out? I. Why? I. Why? It is a miracle to see the world in a drop of food essence. Every drop or grain of food essence helps to sustain consciousness. You experience the world because of consciousness. Hence, the miracle happens. Hence, we say that Sattva is the father-mother of the whole world. The world is reported to be very ancient, but its parents are drops of fresh juices. It is as if a rubber snake has bitten, and there is no end to the effects of poisoning. The world is in consciousness, hence the knower of consciousness, who is in the world, should also be in consciousness. The knower of consciousness is not in consciousness. The consciousness cannot know its knower, the Absolute. An astronomer makes use of a telescope to observe planets and stars. The observer is separate from the telescope, so that he can also observe the telescope. Similarly, the Absolute makes use of the consciousness, and it is not in consciousness. The witnessing of consciousness happens to the Absolute, and the content is like the content of a TV screen. The Absolute cannot be viewed there. It is always the viewer. How will you define a poor person? One who has less or no possessions. I decide poverty by the number of desires. The rich have more desires. We cannot expect much from the rich, as they are poor givers. All the moves of the rich, including donations, are directed towards earning more and more. As long as there is consciousness, there are expectations. I want. How to end all wants? You must know the origin of consciousness. Then, one who demands or expects vanishes. How do you say there is no birth when there is a specific time and date of birth? It is the birth of time and not of the infant. Time is born, not the baby. In your true state you had no knowledge of time. The time started and it will have an end. You are the timeless to whom the time appeared for a certain duration. You are independent of day, night, and seasons. What depends on these is the flowing, the transient. You are the witness of all appearances. You imagine yourself to be somebody in the world that appears to you. Hence, you experience pain and fear. Your unhappiness is the outcome of your own making. How does our knowledge differ from self-knowledge? The real knowledge is to know the self. Yours is material knowledge. Your knowing arises due to the material called food juices. What you know is only in the field of the 5 elements, which is also material. You know only about the family affairs of the 5 elements, which is time-bound. My knowledge is different from it. I do not depend upon your knowledge. I am timeless. I had no experience of day and night, and I was complete and perfect. Your day begins with expectations. How can you be complete? How to be free of the trouble I am? Sometimes in our villages, children suddenly develop itching and vomiting sensations for no apparent reason. The experienced advise to remove the child's shirt. On the skin they notice an insect which normally troubles the cattle. When the insect is removed, the itching and vomiting stops. Similarly, you have to find out the cause of your I am, so that you can be comfortable without it. Your ignorance about the origin of your consciousness is responsible for all your trouble. The thief named I amness vanishes when noticed. Have you noticed from where your seeing, tasting, etc. happens? From brain? It happens from the Sahasrara chakra in the center of the head. How are the vital breath and the consciousness related? In the food essence, the sense of being is dormant, as if sleep, with the appearance of the pulsation due to the vital breath. The sense of being, or the consciousness, takes care to get the food supplies. The name and form help to identify a person. But the body is not one's image. The self-love is one's image. The question of living has arisen due to the appearance of your consciousness. Hence, worship your consciousness as God. Be one with it. Thereby you will get the required spiritual knowledge and you will be free from unhappiness. The entire knowledge of consciousness unfolds to such a devotee. What is his ultimate achievement? It is the conviction of the self. Will he be useful to other seekers? He will give them knowledge and help as per their need and worthiness. Those who are not earnest are satisfied with their verbal knowledge. They become gurus. Many seekers do not stick to one guru. A seeker left me after visiting me for a number of days. He was not much impressed as I was easily approachable. He expected to get more profound knowledge from some remote cave in the Himalayas. He was surprised to hear the same knowledge from some advanced seeker in the Himalayas. He came back not to leave again. It is not the place that is important, but what is he who expounds. The real guru points out the most important thing which is within the disciple and not outside. When you know you are, all other things become important to you. When you are not, what is of importance to you? Instead of wasting your time and energy by searching outside, why not sit comfortably and search within? The simple and easy is always unbelievable. Some believe that self-realization is at the end of a great suffering and sorrow. For them, the Kohinoor diamond cannot be found while walking on a road. They believe that all great things demand great effort to get them. With self-knowledge, our life will become meaningful. When the self, which is beyond all emotions and consciousness, is realized, all things lose their meaning and importance. December 22nd, 1979. You are the proof that God exists. Although we hear from you again and again that we are not the bodies, we cannot help taking every care to keep them safe and healthy. A sage does not expect anything from the body. He leaves it to nature to do the needful. Does he have any duties to perform? He has no name and form, hence no duties. He is timeless. But the time begins with consciousness. You also experience day and night because of consciousness. With the end of the last day, the consciousness also will be no more. When there is no consciousness, there is no happiness or unhappiness. What happens to the water and the wet cloth which is left to dry? Similarly, our sense of being is the quality of wet food juices. When the juices get dried up, the sense of being vanishes, like water and wet cloth. Were there seekers of truth in the past? Princes like Mahavir and Buddha left their kingdoms in search of truth. For them, self-knowledge was more important than the comforts of ignorance. How is the company of a sage useful? One comes to know the importance of vairagya, detachment. Its practice helps in understanding the Sadguru. When I visited my hometown recently, after a long gap, there was none there to recognize me. All my acquaintances were already dead. Similarly, what I was acquainted with myself as so-and-so, that acquaintance had also gone. That knower of acquaintance is also no more. My state is beyond all the acquaintances and recognitions. In this process of knowing, there was an indication that I was born. But that was seen as untrue. Just as all our identities from an infant to an old man change with time, all my knowledge about myself got erased and lost. It did not concern me at all. Even the sign of birth was recognized, but it became clear that it also did not concern me. Just as in my hometown, I do not own anything, this birth was also not my own. 100 years ago, your knowingness was absent. Now it is present. Why? Due to my birth? Your knowingness was absent at your birth. Otherwise, you would have remembered it. The knowingness appeared 3 to 5 years after the birth of the body. Are you responsible for your birth? No, it happened without my knowledge. 2 people had some enjoyment and a third had to suffer for no reason. 82 years back, a young couple had a nice time together, and I have been suffering all these 82 years. Once you know that it is not your birth, and that you have nothing to do with it, you are free. Are we responsible for our thoughts? As long as there is breathing, the thought flow goes on. You make use of some thoughts and ignore others. Why should you be responsible? But do not get involved with thoughts. Remain free. How is your existence related to that of God's? God is great, hence I am. Because God is, you are there, but you are the proof that God exists. Your existence and God's existence is mutually interdependent. Your existence is because of your parents. Now your parents exist in your form. You prove the existence of your parents. Are you a real seeker? Yes. A real seeker loves to be in the company of a sage. He listens to him with great attention. The sage makes him bodiless. That is real thread ceremony. Brahmins start wearing a thread after that ceremony. A mumukshu is one who desires liberation. When he learns that he is not the body, he becomes a seeker, a sadhaka. The name is given to the body. Hence, the bodiless, videhi, becomes nameless. One's true nature without name and form is to be realized. On what does existence depend? On God. It is nameless. Let us call it Paramatma, so as to understand what I mean. It is wordless, timeless, and even without consciousness. Just as the earth supports all life on it, the entire existence is because of Paramatma. The existence of Paramatma is as if it is non-existence. Still it is eternal. All other existence appears so much and so true, but it is all time-bound. The time-bound can be known, but not the eternal, which is always the knower and not the known. That was our being 100 years ago. Yes, it cannot be known in duality, but you are it in non-duality. People want the joy of knowing it, which is not possible. In that sense, it is unworldly. All that is time-bound, including great incarnations, is untrue. Only the eternal is the truth. All gods with name and form are not eternal. All names and forms have a beginning and hence an end. Can the waking state talk to the deep sleep state? No. One side of a coin cannot see the other. Nothing gets finished. The small vanishes to become big. A water drop evaporates to become an ocean. The stocks of food grains go on increasing year after year. There is consciousness in various forms, and we have a man, a horse, or a donkey. Because of consciousness, there is a sense of being. Once this sense of being is gone, it is not available again. What is responsible for this light of consciousness? It is due to burning of the food essence, sattva, in the body. You are sitting here and you know it without effort. Before that, the principle which is without consciousness knows it. Thereafter you come to know it, and then me and mine begin. In the morning, that principle which is without consciousness knows that there is waking. Thereafter the body identity begins with the me and mine. Then the worldly activities begin. The Marathi word for waking is jagrati. This word can be split into jag, waking, and rati. Rati means small, and also it means the joy of union of the male and female. Thus, our waking state is the result of the short sexual enjoyment of our parents. Our worldly life is the operation of that waking state. If you meditate on this, you will know the secret of the consciousness and your separation from it. I am making these secrets so clear and open for you, but you lack the capacity to grasp it and be free. Brahman is very ancient and has two aspects which are also ancient. One is Prakriti and the other is Purusha. Both are formless, but without them, no forms are possible. Both are responsible for all creation, including that of the smallest sprout. These deserve your attention more than Vaikuntha and Kailas, the hearsay abodes of Lord Vishnu and Shiva. Everybody knows that our parents were responsible for our arrival. We do not know its spiritual significance. Meditation on your parents' conjugal bliss will show you how it is the birth of an illusion, and not you. You, the Eternal, did not know you are. Thereafter the Eternal started knowing that it existed. The ever-existing started knowing its existence. The bliss enjoyed by parents was formless, and the news I am, which was also formless, appeared in a form, that is, the physical body. You are the present mark of your parents. Your consciousness is the result of the bliss enjoyed by your parents. Hence the term Chitananda, Chit, to perceive, and Ananda, joy, that is, consciousness bliss. Its importance is enhanced by adding Sat, that is, Satchitananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. All living forms have consciousness resulting from the consciousness bliss of their parents. Your consciousness is a suffering resulting from that bliss. Your consciousness contains your world. Hence, your world is the result of that consciousness bliss of your parents. The parents are not individuals, but the formless Prakriti and Purusha. Many learned people would get wonderstruck by my simple Marathi words. Their content is so profound and awakening. What is it that entered the womb and was responsible for the growth? Chitananda, consciousness bliss. Did that bliss have any form? No. Then what happened? Meditate on it. That consciousness bliss became the content of a womb, and it turned into I love of somebody in due course. December 23rd, 1979. Your parents are gold, and you the ornament. All your knowledge is hearsay. What do you really know, other than that? We also learn from our experiences. You are prior to all experiences, and you have to learn yourself. Do you understand that you are experiencing the world without any effort? Yes, it is spontaneous. You have to go to the root and have conviction about your true nature. Your understanding, which changes with time, is untrue. The changeless is true. When you know you are, your worldly activities begin. But prior to knowing you are, what are you? Be there. Your true state is without the knowledge you are. Having stabilized in the state prior to consciousness, Sage Tukaram said, "Now God is taking care of all my activities. I was not able to express properly. He has given it clarity. I was shy and timid. He has made me bold." What is the origin of this world? From the knowing, ajnana, state appears the I am knowledge, jnana, in which there is your world. The ajnana state continues from womb to over 3 years of your age. This applies to all world heroes and even to incarnations like Ram and Krishna. The birth of knowledge, consciousness, is in ignorance. The term ignorance, ajnani, is disturbing. Then you can call it vijnana, that which is prior to knowledge or beyond knowledge, jnana. The memory you are, is it not the memory that your parents were? Yes. It is like a golden ornament. You are the ornament, but the parents are gold. How to recognize a jnani? He does not have any ego. Even the feeling that I am a jnani and different from others is absent. I have gained a lot by coming here. But you have lost your birth itself. You can go anywhere, but the knower of self is very rare to find. You will come across great scholars, speakers, and Mahatmas, but they are of no use to the real seekers. When you arrive at your true identity, you are wonderstruck to find out, am I really nothing? The four Vedas expound self-knowledge. With folded hands they have accepted their inability to expound truth. The truth has no color, no form. It is beyond words. No religious practices can take you to the eternal truth. Although the worldly existence is a meaningless suffering, the ignorant have no option. A disciple of a sage tried hard for self-realization. Without success, on his last day he said, I trust my Guru that I am Brahman, whole and complete, and left his mortal coil. Are you really free to live as you like and avoid suffering? The wise can minimize suffering, they cannot avoid it. Even this form has been forced on me. It has been changing throughout my life. Try to find out your most humble, unchanging identity. In this existence, everything is changing so fast that stability is only imaginary or wishful thinking. Dishonesty is the rule. Even if you imagine changeless conditions, you are yourself not changeless to enjoy them. The creation of vegetation during monsoon is short-lived. We are also a result of a shower of sperms. I remember a few lines from Das Bodh. All that appeared to exist vanished. What did not exist was not. What remained after the above two? The indescribable. It existed as if non-existent. Paramatma alone exists as nothing, but it is at the root of everything. I am that. I do not know what I am. This bodily existence is like an accident. Prior to this accident, say 100 years ago, you had direct knowledge of that state. After self-knowledge, what remains to be done? Nothing. No duties remain. Buddha said, be your own light. If you don't have your own light, you have to take help of others' light. Due to ignorance, you consult others. When you have your own light, others come to you. There is no repentance about the past and no worries about the future. His state is described as Sahaja Vasta, the most natural and spontaneous state. I look to others, but my illusion has gone. Hence there are no expectations. Why is the knowledge I am, consciousness, so important? It is the soul of your world. No I am, no world. The root of consciousness is a moment, or to be precise, only a fraction of a moment. Of what is this moment? You have to find out. One who knows that moment sees oneself as unborn. When you wake up in the morning, for a very short duration there is pure being without words. Try to watch it, before your thoughts disturb it. The same pure state existed up to 3 years or so after the birth of the body. It lasted until you recognized your mother. I give you useful hints and try to awaken you. I respect the visitors for all their interest, but they find it difficult to understand me. Who gets the news I am? Of course, it is the unborn who gets it. Before that, it did not have the news. Because of this news, it appears that the unborn has got bound by the chain of birth. One who knows the secret of this news knows the moment of the root of consciousness. Then one sees oneself as unborn and free. Your conviction of birth itself is the bondage. Our true nature is without attributes. It is almost a non-entity. The existence is great, but it is dreamlike. There was conception due to the conjugal bliss. The consciousness bliss entered the womb and grew in the fetus. The fetus had a form, but not the consciousness bliss. It was the growth of the self-love in dormant condition. Should we stabilize prior to self-love? Just meditate on self-love. A pregnant woman takes so much care of herself. It is consciousness which is responsible for all the protection, including that of the fetus. The world that I experience is on my own. It is not anybody's favor to me. It is said that Brahman is real and world is false. There is this world and we have its knowledge. Both these as well as Ishwara are false. I know it. Still, my talk goes on. As Parabrahman, what is your experience? The experience of the individual soul, the world, and Brahman was absent. Its experience now is like having a fever. As every child is an appearance of the Absolute in a form, it has to begin the worldly experience with no knowledge. In the Absolute there was nothing. Now the child finds many different new things and beings around it. Hence the never-ending questions of every child which are but natural. The child may be only a few days or months old, but there is the eternal. I met a sadhu who claimed to have the knowledge of Brahman. The self-knowledge was of no importance to him. If he comes to me, I will ask him, 100 years ago you had no problems. They are there now. Why and how? Until you find out, your misery will remain intact despite your so-called knowledge of Brahman. Some people become gurus by having a few visions of gods. Illusions cannot lead one to truth. What is the importance of spontaneity? All your actions should be smooth and effortless. You cannot put in effort to go to sleep. If you do, you remain awake. With self-knowledge, the ego dissolves. Life becomes spontaneous. December 24th, 1979. What is Sahaja Yoga? All creation is due to the 5 elements. Is there any profit or loss for these elements? Only human beings have that idea. What about other living beings? In the absence of intelligence, there is no question of any profit and loss. Activities of the 5 elements go on without any control. Man has made so much development in this world. He takes pleasure in developing even the imaginary abodes of Vishnu, Vaikuntha, and Shiva, Kailas. All man-made things are short-lived. What has a beginning must also have an end. Only the self is changeless. To realize it, you must meditate on consciousness. That is, remain in a thought-free state as long as possible. With realization, you will come to know that this experience of the world that you are having is also useless. You will come to know that your world is in your mind. To know that, you must be free of all involvement. Otherwise, you cannot accept reality and you prefer to be in your imagination. With realization, your I am vanishes, and what remains is your true self. What is unreal? You consider yourself to be that which you are not. Acceptance of the unreal is your trouble, and it will last until the true is realized. Do not blame anybody for dishonesty. What changes every moment cannot be honest. In this, everything is changing, including your own identity. Do you also have worries? Here, what is that to worry? Find your own experience. Can you say that there is nobody to worry? No, I'm scared of death. What about a jnani? Suppose a patient has a urinary problem and there is no urination for 3 days. If the problem is solved and there is no more urination, how will he feel? A jnani has the same joy when the vital breath leaves the body and the consciousness becomes no consciousness. It is described as param ananda. Self-realization seems to be the only solution to all problems. I was accused of having been born, and I was suffering. But my guru showed me that I was never born. I was that which always exists and cannot be born. Hence, my suffering ended. What is Sahaja yoga, easy natural yoga? It is to meditate on your consciousness as God. You need not go anywhere for that. Do it wherever you are. There is no equipment required to do it. No outer help is needed. Be with yourself. How to meditate? Knowing that you are not your body, hold your consciousness with itself. We should not just imagine as we are told, but actually be it. When you woke up in the morning, who came to know that? It takes some time to know that I am really awake. All these talks are really to wake you up. 100 years ago, you had no experience of day and night, waking and sleep, or of consciousness and non-consciousness. That is timeless experience. The present one is time-bound. Sri Ramana Maharshi and Sri Anandamayi Ma were asked whether they sleep. They said no. Does a jnani have any attraction to existence in a form? No. Everyone sees the dream of birth in which one is born and in the same dream sees one's parents. Birth is the happening of the bliss of sexual union along with the appearance of the dormant memory I am. Birth is the transition from no I am state to I am state. How can I be complete, total, and perfect? You are already that from which your I am knowledge and the experience of day and night have arisen. Only your ignorance has to drop. The experience is termed as the world. Do not get overimpressed by great things. It is really the greatness of your vision that is imparted to those things. Your vision is the primary illusion or the great God. What is Guru's job? The knowledge about myself was available with me beforehand. My Guru only reminded me about it. Everything is my expression and all will merge into me finally. How do you differ from time? Time has a beginning and an end. I have none. How do I differ from my sense of being? The sense of being is the quality of the 3 gunas, of sattva, rajas, and tamas. You are not these qualities and are separate from them. Can I know myself by reading scriptures? Do you know you are by reading books? Sometimes I have a feeling that I know myself. As long as that feeling is there, be sure that the freedom and joy of self-realization is not there. As long as there is a concept of birth, one is not out of ignorance. Why am I not yet free? You are trying to remind yourself to be the self, but your body identity is intact. What you are before saying I am is your true self. What is my difficulty? It is easy to make use of consciousness, but it is difficult to get established as consciousness. The body identity remains in the background. You see with your eyes, but do not see the eyes. While making use of consciousness, you should also be aware of consciousness. The use of consciousness does not give you peace and tranquility. That is possible only by establishing as consciousness. What is the reason for our fear and unhappiness? If you are a painter and you work as a dentist, there will be fear and unhappiness. Similarly, you have accepted the work of the 3 gunas, qualities, as your own doing. Hence all these problems trouble you. What are we, if not these bodies? You are neither the bodies nor the consciousness. In the body there is the news you are. How can you be your news? You are separate from it. You give different names to living food bodies of different sizes and shapes, like man, horse, donkey, etc. There is use of photography to create bodies of the same types. If we are really the reality, why follow any religious practices? The ignorant follow them for the satisfaction of following a tradition and also for entertainment. Our existence is almost like a dream. Our consciousness is like the light of an oil lamp, which burns as long as there is oil. When there is nothing to burn, the light gets extinguished. There is no coming or going, no heaven, no hell. December 25th, 1979. I am in a no-knowledge state. Is there any choice in life? The consciousness comes unknowingly and one is forced to live with it. Self-knowledge helps to minimize suffering and then be free of it. My body is my bondage. If you are not the body, how would it bind you? There is neither bondage nor unhappiness for you. I am Atma, self? Yes, you had the company of J. Krishnamurti. How are you still ignorant? When I wake up in the morning for a short time, I am not my body. You, the nameless and formless, first witness the consciousness and then other things including the body. Then you act taking yourself as the body. What is the difference between a jnani and an infant? In a jnani there is an end of all knowledge, and in an infant it is yet to begin. What is Shaktipat? I understand it as weakness after meditation or a feeling of lightness. I do not know what others mean by that term. Is the loss of body identity self-realization? It is only the beginning of self-realization. What applies to you? Should it also apply to me? We are one. There is no difference. The principle which is in you is talking to you through me. You have forgotten yourself. But I, who is in you, have not forgotten you. Just as I love myself, I love you equally. When you realize yourself, all scriptures will flow out of you and you will simply listen. Without self-knowledge, whatever you have collected in this world, who will be its master after you? Because you are, you bother about others. When you were not, what was your botheration? Is it not of the utmost importance to find out the cause of I am, from the eternal state of no I am? Lord Ganapati's second name is Vinayak. I call it Vinayaka. That is without one. With the counting of one, the further counting of 2, 3, etc., up to infinity goes on. Vinayak is prior to one, in the non-dual absolute. Our breathing in and out creates sounds. One sound appears to be a question about our identity, followed by a sound which gives the reply. Let us see how. Breathing in produces the sound ko, who, ham, am I. The next breath out replies, so, that, am I? This question-answer about our identity goes on continuously all the 24 hours, and a seeker has only to give attention to it. You seem to have a good stock of knowledge. No, I am in a no-knowledge state. To every question the reply comes from nirvikalpa, thought-free state, and the witnessing happens to me. I am here to help you get rid of your hard-earned stocks. Is it possible to mistake one's own self as self-realized? Quite so. That is what we notice all around us. More than cheating others, these gurus are cheating themselves. Their most fond concept is that they are free of all concepts. Every guru has a big following, and the relation between disciples of different gurus is far from friendly. They avoid even facing one another. One who has pure self-knowledge is a true guru. The eternal is the truth that is open to all. A true guru cannot produce a witness, as there are no others in that state. There is only peace and tranquility in the company of a sage. What you are, in reality, is so peaceful that it does not need anything to pacify it. What you are not, that is body, mind, and consciousness, is so disturbing that it cannot be pacified by any actions. All worldly activities are meant to be comfortable in the mistaken identity. People are carrying on with their religious practices and even idol worship. The idol cannot protect itself. It is covered with crow's droppings. The offerings made by people is eaten by rats. With all this background, the idol is believed to be very powerful and a giver of all that is desired. This faith itself works wonders. How do people see visions of gods of their liking? Consciousness is like the Kohinoor diamond. You see visions of Vishnu, Shiva, Hanuman, Ganapati, or even of ghosts if you choose. December 26th, 1979. My guru is Parabrahman. Because of your consciousness, you know everything, but you do not know why and how this consciousness has appeared. It is necessary to know that. Is it my Atma, self, responsible for my wrongdoings? Whatever you do with your body identity, your Atma is not responsible for it. Atma is only a witness. What about meditation with body identity? It will never give you peace and tranquility. You never advise us about worldly activities. I take you to the source. Once you know it, your activities will be in order. Any type of activities cannot lead to knowledge. What is the use of mind? Your thought flow is your mind. It is disturbing in spirituality. It should be under control, just as you control an animal by pulling the string passing through its nostrils. How do ideas turn into reality? Your attention is drawn to the idea that occurs to you. You were in Antwerp, Belgium, and now you are here in Bombay, Mumbai. How? Because idea of visiting Bombay occurred to you after reading I Am That. If you had not read that book, you would still have been in Antwerp. King Shah Jahan thought of a beautiful memorial for his dead wife Mumtaz Mahal, and there was the construction of the Taj Mahal at Agra. Some gurus have a spiritual profession, but my guru is Parabrahman, and I have full faith in him. I am prior to all concepts, hence they do not affect me. Just as you are undisturbed by clouds moving in the sky, I watch the thoughts which appear occasionally. Paramatma does not seem to be interested in publicity. The I am knowledge is his advertisement. The various incarnations are his publicity. Without consciousness, we are Paramatma. After committing suicide, are we Paramatma? No, suicide is a deliberate action. The transition should be spontaneous. If one has glimpses of one's true nature, is it realization? One must have conviction of one's true nature. In the true, eternal state, one cannot find a witness to one's true condition. Also, one does not need it. As long as there is need to prove one's realization, there is no realization. The false can be proved as true by false methods. In the true state, one loses all attributes. In the eternal, non-conscious attributeless state, the appearance of I am is for so short a duration relatively as if it never appeared at all. A jnani is never bothered about all existence as it is as good as false. Anyway, it does not affect the eternal. Is egg first or the hen? The news you are is the egg of your world. Here the egg comes first and then the hen. I am separate from the news and unaffected by the world. Where did you get the memory you are from? In my mother's womb? What was not there and which appeared subsequently? The news I am. December 27th, 1979. What is Bodhisattva? There is a vast tree above the ground because of the underground roots. Where is your world if your I am knowledge is absent? Your world is the light of yourself, Atma Prakash. What is the implied meaning of the following Marathi verse? The infant Hari urinated in the cradle as if a stone pricked him. All living forms, including human beings, are expressions of Lord Hari. Our sense of being is like a prick of a stone. To forget it, we go on doing something or other. Here the shower is not of urine but of sperms. It is said that there is misery in this world, but its population is ever increasing year by year. Where do all these people go finally? Suppose there is a big fire, where does it go finally? Nowhere. It merges into itself. Similarly, we have appeared from the non-being state into which we finally merge. When we are tired, we go to sleep. But the no-being state is even prior to sleep. The manifestation has rising and setting. The rising is called waking and the setting is called sleep. The no-being state has no rising and no setting. All that exists is I only, and all that vanishes is also I. Why don't we make progress faster? If you wish to ask any questions, keep your body identity aside and talk. With your body identity intact, none of your problems will get solved. A person went in search of darkness with a torch in hand. He could not find darkness anywhere. Similarly, it is not possible for the manifest to search for the unmanifest. There is the unmanifest only in the absence of the manifest. What should I know? You must have complete knowledge of your consciousness, just as you can clearly see a berry on your palm. What is my main obstacle? Your body identity. Not even the slightest of it is permissible. One who dwells in one's identity without the body makes progress. Different seekers have different problems. Although the consciousness is one and the same, its expression changes from person to form. 10 children of the same mother may have 10 qualities. The expression is mischievous. Is a jnani full of knowledge? There is no knowledge but pure being. A mountain of attributes appear on the attributeless eternal state. Why do people seek enjoyment? The sense of being is miserable. In order to forget it, one seeks enjoyment or any occupation. Our I amness is like a scorpion bite. One has to do something in order to tolerate it or forget it. You call it work or enjoyment. In deep sleep you had no problems. 100 years ago you had no problem either. This is because there was no I amness. Are you an incarnation of God? No, I am like you. All human beings are equal and have the ability to know themselves. But a rare one uses the ability and becomes free. Is there any remedy to inherited defects? The defects in the food juices called parents are passed on to the next generation. Yoga, that is, yogic postures, asanas, and pranayama is the remedy. It is the best preventative and also a cure. The Marathi word for seed is bija. It also means copying, like photocopying, hence the identical nature or similarity of the offshoots. Lord Hari is a manifestation of the Absolute. He is wearing a dhoti, the color of which is the mixture of yellow and white. In Marathi we call it pitambara, that is, yellow plus white. Yellow is the color of Prakriti, and white that of Purusha, Panduranga. How do you say that there is no birth? I know that there was a time when our sense of being was absent. Its appearance is birth according to me. In the Absolute, that is the only extraordinary happening. All living beings have to act as per the thoughts of inspiration that flows from within. What is the most fundamental thing with every human being? The I am feeling or thought? Other thoughts and actions follow this fundamental thought. When there was no sense of being, was there any unhappiness? Was there any need for happiness? No. There is a story of a successful man. He earned billions, helped thousands, and became world famous. What was at the root of all his success? It was his sense of being. Without it, he could not have done anything. Hence, your sense of being is the most important thing with you. Give attention to it. Meditate on it, and it will tell you all this. That is your secrets. That is the knowledge of the self or self-realization. With the sense of being, there is our world, and our concept that there is a God. Hence, at the center of all is our I am. You never visit any sages or Mahatmas. All our knowledge and its content, including sages and Mahatmas, depend upon the I am knowledge, which is time-bound and false. Hence, I do not visit anybody. Yesterday you said you do not wish to impart this knowledge to anybody. Why? When I investigated this knowledge I am, it turned against me, liquidating all my beliefs. Why should I irritate others with that knowledge? People are quite comfortable as they are, without this knowledge. What will you do in a state where there is neither remembering nor forgetting? But our present state does not give us peace and happiness. That is also true. All your knowledge is based on the I am knowledge which has appeared spontaneously. You do not know the why and how of it. But for peace and happiness, that knowledge is a must. A man can be very great and famous, but all his greatness depends upon the news I am, which has appeared spontaneously and which can leave any moment. When it goes, where is his greatness? Happiness and peace is possible only after the secret of I am is known. Then it does not remain just news, but it attains godhood. What do people who do Beli Bhajans and visit God Vitoba of Pandharpurya regularly gain thereby? These people are immersed in bhajans and Vitoba. They see him even in dreams and in visions. This helps them to forget all worries and be fearless on the day of passing. The vital breath of these devotees leaves in a great joy. From their last day you can judge how they must have lived throughout their lives. For others, even a thought of death is dreadful. They see messengers of Lord Yama and die a miserable death. There is no heaven or hell. It only matters how you die, whether merrily or in fear. You begin construction of any building laying a stone. What do you call it? Foundation stone. Your knowledge I am is the foundation of your universe. I am is the feet of the Lord of the universe. Vishwambara. Meditate on that. I am without words in order to propitiate it. It will tell you all its secrets, that is, your secrets. It will become clear to you that you are neither the body nor the mind. There will be a transformation in you. Your thought flow will continue, but with less number and of a higher quality. There will be thoughts of Brahman. Your needs will be less, and they will be met spontaneously without effort. The activities of the body, mind, and the vital breath will continue, but you will only remain as their witness. How will I see my death? The departure of the vital breath and mind will be witnessed by you. You will see the body inert on the bed and the consciousness becoming non-conscious. It is like witnessing the passing of urine or stools. The observers say you are dead, but it will not be your experience. I welcome profound questions. Do you have any? You know you are. Sahaja, and everything is contained in it. What else do you know? That itself is everything. When you are everything, you cannot have any problems. Your greatest blunder is your identification with the body. Your body identity is incomplete. When you know it and it goes, you are already complete. What is so unique about our consciousness? The sun is great but cannot see darkness. Also the darkness cannot see the sun. But you, consciousness, can see both these. That is your greatness. We were lucky to be born. 100 years ago you were complete in all respects. The so-called birth is of incompleteness. What is bodhisattva of Buddha? You have Buddha, knowledge, that you are, because of sattva, body. Hence you are bodhisattva. Is a long life useful? Someone lives for 200 years. What is the use? It is as significant as someone urinating, standing up, in a remote corner. This alludes to a popular Marathi aphorism implying, what difference does it make?